Новым годом. Спасибо большое.
What must it feel like to be Vladimir Putin right now? He has spent years attacking NATO, he has slammed the Western alliance, he has tried and failed to split Europe from the United States, and suddenly he doesn't have to do it anymore because America is doing it for him. Donald Trump wants Greenland. He wants access to the Arctic. He says it is to prevent Russia and China from taking over the region. You would expect Moscow to push back. After all, the Arctic is one of Russia's most strategic regions. But not this time. This time, Russia is smiling away. In fact, they're encouraging this bid of Donald Trump. Look at what Russia's state-run media is saying. They're praising Trump. They're openly attacking Greenland. And they're mocking European unity. Trump is being portrayed as a historic leader. Here's how one newspaper put it. If Trump gets Greenland, he would be remembered alongside Abraham Lincoln. Basically, Trump would go into history books as one of the greatest American presidents. That's what the Russians are saying. They're rooting for Trump to annex European territory. And it's not just their media, not just the Russian media. Their ministers are also at it. Look at what Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, has said. He said Greenland was not a natural part of Denmark. He called it a problem of former colonial territories. Listen to this.
In principle, Greenland is not a natural part of Denmark, is it? It was neither a natural part of Norway, nor a natural part of Denmark. It is a colonial conquest. The fact that the inhabitants are now accustomed to it and feel comfortable is another matter. But the problem of former colonial possessions is getting more and more serious.
So why is Moscow doing this? Why is it in favor of the US planting itself in the Arctic? Well, Russia is looking at the bigger prize here. For them, this is not about the Arctic. This is about NATO. This is about the Western military alliance cracking from the inside. Because if Trump takes Greenland, it won't just be a land grab, it would be the end of NATO, and no one would want that more than Russia. Moscow would love to watch the NATO unravel without firing a single shot.
The thing is that Greenland is part of NATO, and this alliance is now going through a period of challenges showing what NATO is. This is why we are not interested at all in interfering in somebody's affairs.
So if the US takes Greenland, on what grounds will it lecture Russia? What will it say in Ukraine's defense? What moral high ground will it stand on after doing the exact same thing for which it wants to punish Russia? That should explain why Moscow is cheering this. Meanwhile, Europe is losing sleep. And it was quite evident from this statement by the European Commission chief.
Of course, nostalgia is part of our human story, but nostalgia will not bring back the old order. And playing for time and hoping for things to revert soon will not fix the structural dependencies we have. So my point is, if this change is permanent, then Europe must change permanently too. It is time to seize this opportunity and build a new independent Europe.
That was European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen. She says the time for nostalgia is over. The need of the hour is a new Europe, a new and independent Europe.
That geopolitical shocks can and must serve as an opportunity for Europe. And in my view, the seismic change we are going through today is an opportunity, in fact, a necessity, to build a new form of European independence. And this need is neither new nor a reaction to recent events.
You see, Europe has built its prosperity by outsourcing everything. They outsourced their security to the US under the protective umbrella of the NATO. They got their energy from Russia. Cheap gas still flows into Europe through pipelines. And they outsourced their factories to China, which kept European shelves full and prices low. It all worked until it did not. War returned to Europe's doorstep, energy became a weapon, and supply chains snapped under pressure. So as Ursula von der Leyen says, Europe's old world is gone. Today, Europe must do three things, all at the same time: defend itself, power itself, and compete for itself. And to do that, Europe needs reliable, trusted partners. Perhaps this is where India enters the picture.
Right after Davos, the next weekend, I will travel to India. There's still work to do, but we are on the cusp of a historic trade agreement. Indeed, some call it the mother of all deals.
You heard that. She calls it the mother of all deals. India and the EU are all set to sign a mega deal, a deal that would create a market of nearly 2 billion people. And that's one way to do this, to diversify your relations, to build allies across the world, to find geopolitical partners without any strings attached. So the EU chief's warning was not just about geopolitics, it was about the mindset. The era of outsourcing hard choices is over. Europe can no longer live off the assumptions of the past. It must relearn how to stand on its own.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, First Post America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is First Post America.